I don't want to silence anybody. I want us to have a real conversation. And we're going to disagree. But the idea that that you are fighting fascism by silencing people, you then become the fascists.
So I actually have a question.
So far, this seems like an intelligent discussion, the type one would expect and indeed hope to see on a university campus, if anywhere, where people go to be challenged, or at least they used to. What could possibly go wrong?
It's fascinating. I find it fascinating because I'm constantly attacked by the alt-right online as being this whim, as not realizing the importance of race or whatever, constantly berated as some kind of lefty by the alt-right. And then the left attacks me as a racist and a fascist. And actually, after this Exeter event, I don't know if you know about the Exeter event that happened. Here they go. Where some people try to silence me.
Apparently they're going to they wanted to knock out the security guard.
Oh, doesn't it just give you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside when the sensible, intelligent and tolerant majority successfully drives out an aggressive, fascist minority element who smash their way into a civilised and truly free-thinking gathering. Hooray for democracy. I wanted to cut that down, but I think it's important to watch and listen to these utter gobshites in all their glory. It's also worth pointing out, as always happens in these situations, the powers that be or those in charge, they always plead gently with the aggressive, lawless tyrants and order the law-abiding good people to back away, back away. As a journalist, I've had experience of many of these kinds of situations, much more serious ones too. And this is a pattern I've seen time and time again, no matter what the environment, no matter who the people involved. It just always happens. I've got a theory on it too. I think the reason this happens is because the people in charge, or the people trying to sort out the disorder or return some civility to the proceedings, they instinctively know that one side are complete animals and therefore no point reasoning with, and the other side are the decent, honest people who actually respect other people enough to accede to the reasonable requests that they do whatever it is, even when they're riled up and full of adrenaline. These are the people we can rely on. These are the people they can rely on. And this is why these are the people who are always told to make the biggest compromises. After all, why ask someone utterly uncompromising to make compromises? I hope you noticed where the most diversity is in that clip. It's on the side of those seeking to expand their minds by listening to a discussion, probably on issues which challenge them, perhaps even issues which repulse some of them. There are more non-white faces on the side of freedom of speech there than on the side of the fascists trying to shut it down. Watch it again and have a look for yourself. All these Far Eastern and Middle Eastern fascists, we really need to infringe on their rights, don't we? The rights which are probably a large part of the reason they're in this country, in this university, in this culture in the first place. Hey, why not just deport them all? That would prevent them hearing the debate. You know best, after all. Can't let these people decide for themselves what's suitable for their ears and their minds, can you? You know best, as always, and when someone doesn't believe that you do, well, you can just violently intervene to make sure they don't go off the rails. Your rails. Your tyrannical fascist rails, where only stuff you approve of is allowed to exist. Hooray for tolerance, acceptance and inclusivity. What a bunch of morons you are, and hypocrites. And what is it with the face veils? Have you all got halitosis or something? What are you afraid of? If you genuinely feel good about what you're doing, grow a pair and show yourself, like the brave people on the stage in front of you. Probably the most important thing about this clip for me, though, is how it shows both the decency and the true tolerance in Carl Benjamin. I mean, how the hell he restrained himself to just hanging onto his microphone, I'll never know. This is a perfect example of tolerant and peaceful values, and a clear show of personal restraint. The weapon of the strong to anyone who subscribes to Gandhi's teachings. He had every reason to feel threatened and endangered. He was. He had every reason to defend himself physically, but he did the absolute minimum necessary to just avoid being robbed of his microphone and assaulted. The man in the white top who came to his aid was actually assaulted. If it wasn't for the unfortunate fact that Carl Benjamin is a far-right sexist, misogynist, racist, fascist, Islamophobic, transphobe, I would say he deserves huge credit for his behaviour here, especially when faced with such absolute fascism and physical aggression himself. Here's a man having a quiet, peaceful, intelligent conversation with two other consenting adults also wanting to have that conversation, being watched by a group of people who want to listen to the discussion. Why the need to aggressively disrupt it? Because they don't want anyone to listen to such a discussion, in case they agree with any of it, or in case it opens their mind, or in case it makes them think a bit more freely than the radical left want them to. This is the greatest fear of the left, rational reasoned debate, because it genuinely is the real threat to their dogmatic ideology. The only way they can maintain the journey they're taking us all on to outright Marxism is by preventing people like Carl in this instance from discussing the issues articulately and sensibly. If protesting and name-calling fails to deter these annoying freethinkers from spreading their dangerous common sense to an equally open-minded audience, then tactics like doxing and destroying careers are used. If those methods fail, the next strategy is pulling their funding and getting the Marxist conspiracy that is Silicon Valley to intervene and censor them both technologically and financially. If all of that fails, then comes the physical violence and attacks, which is where we are now. But I wonder, no, I worry, and I really do worry daily about this, as even this sort of thuggery is failing to achieve their objectives. What is their next strategy going to be? Maybe Joe Brand gave us a little hint recently. I sincerely hope not.